You'll be surprised at how much benefit you get out of the reporting. And once you get your team reviewing it and actually realizing what these metrics mean and how they work, you'll be surprised at how much more engagement you get from them. When your business makes better net, it helps you make better decisions. It helps you be able to treat your team better. Make sure you're tracking this stuff well. Hey guys, Kevin here. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 metrics to help your business run efficiently. First one we're going to talk about today is total sales year after year. This is important because it gives you a method to track against your numbers from the previous season. Likely you've got a new budget that you're working towards. This will help compare the previous year, your new year to your budget. These are key factors, and you want to look at all the big ones. You want to look at sales, you want to look at payroll, you want to look at overhead costs, you want to look at materials and subcontractors. Some companies aren't as subcontractor heavy. At Muskoka Landscapers, we tend to have quite a few. So keep an eye on those numbers, be able to track against them again with your previous year and your budget. Make sure you're trending in the right direction with those. Next, we've got net margin. Net margin is key. And to me, it's the biggest factor. Gross doesn't matter. It matters what your net is. If your net is 2 or 3 or 5%, then your business is not operating well. You want to get that net up into the 10 to 15, and some companies are able to achieve even in the 20 range. So in the landscape industry, that's tough to do, but very impressive when you can. To me, this is the key margin that you need to look after, and make sure when you're using it, you again are tracking against the previous year's number, because these month by month metrics will help you know where you were, know where you're going, and know where you need to get to. At Muskoka Landscapers, one of the things I like about watching the net, and one of our main focuses for the past 4 years, even though we've been in the low double digits, we have been really focusing on getting our net up. For years, we ran at a relatively middle of the road net, and it's really taken some key factors like waste, uh, team development, and equipment utilization is really what's helped us get that dialed in. If you're doing 10 million a year and you're only making 5%, that's a lot of money left on the table. And it's very hard to work a $10 million business making 5% net. It's just not good long term. When your business makes better net, it helps you make better decisions. It helps you be able to treat your team better. It helps you pay your team better. It helps you pay yourself better. So net is key. Next, we've got revenue per hour. Revenue per hour is a huge metric. It's quite easy to figure out. You look at your annual hour report versus your total sales. This is a great metric to track against. You can do it partially way through the season as well. But if you look at your previous year, you divide up your total sales by your total hours, that's going to give you a number. Hopefully you're landing in the 225 to 300 range. If you're above 300, you're killing it. The revenue per hour is a key metric that we like to use at Muskoka Landscapers. It helps us track how efficient we're being, how efficient the teams are being, and from revenue per hour, you can actually break it back down into your job costing as well, so that when you're looking at your job costing, you can really see what your production rates are like. That brings us into our next item, which is job costing. Job costing is key. If you're not doing job costing, you have no idea which projects are doing well and which ones are doing poorly. And if you wait till the end of the season to do this all the time, it doesn't really give you enough time to recover and make adjustments to your estimating system for estimates moving forward. So this is something you want to be tracking frequently. Often when you're doing job costing, you'll also find that there's the same problem uh, throughout a lot of projects. You know, it might be the mulch, it might be the topsoil, it might be planting. Planting's a hard one. That should be one of your good money makers. But maybe your team's a little less efficient in paver install. You're likely, if you have multiple teams, you can compare against each other, which may be an experience thing. But these are the types of things that really help you make good decisions, because the team that's maybe not fast at installing pavers might be on a planting project rather than a paver project. So use your job costing reports. Make sure you're looking at them frequently, especially for companies that are doing 1 week projects. You can get so far out of whack by mid-season if you don't know what your job costing is doing, or which jobs you're making money on and which ones you're not. And again, once you know what kind of jobs are efficient for you to do, focus on those. Squeeze as much out of those types of projects as you can. Next up, equipment cost and utilization. This is a big one that we worked on last year at Muskoka Landscapers. We ended up flipping most of our fleet into all new leased Bobcat equipment. Bobcat's been our provider for many years, and they really came to the table with the deal we made as far as no downtime for us. Anything that goes down, they're helping us out with max 4 hours, which is amazing. Um, and not only that, but it's renewed the fleet. The guys like driving newer equipment. It looks better on site. They're more efficient. Um, Repair costs are way down. We're not replacing tracks every year. The thing to watch when you're looking at your equipment costs, and again, you can do a very similar exercise with your overall sales. Look at what your equipment costs are per dollar. Those stats, I don't want to throw out numbers because they're going to vary depending on what type of business you do and what type of equipment you have, and your fleet size, how many trucks and office vehicles and all that type of stuff. So make sure you're tracking this stuff well. Look at the equipment that's costing you money all the time. Look at what sort of repairs you're running into all the time. Maybe it's a training thing that you need to work with your team. Maybe they're missing certain grease fittings. Maybe they're not changing the oil uh, in some of their smaller tools enough. Def fluid's a big one now with most machines. So just make sure that they're being operated properly and maintained properly. If you do that, you'll have a much happier machine and a much happier crew. Um, the other benefits of equipment utilization are customer satisfaction. You don't have old leaking machines on their sites. It looks professional, it looks clean, and definitely it's going to help you finish a job faster. The other thing that's a major benefit that you can do in-house is track the utilization of each machine by hours. Look at which pieces of equipment are getting the most hours and the ones that aren't. And maybe sometimes we have a few machines in our fleet that aren't used very frequently, but we need them infrequently. But when we need them right away. So keep an eye on what's doing well for you and what's not. More importantly, look at equipment or vehicles that you can get rid of when you don't need them anymore or where they're not being productive for you. That's the first of the top five, guys. There's going to be many more of these types of metrics to come, but make sure you're using these five. If you're not, start working with them. They're quite easy to use. You'll be surprised at how much benefit you get out of the reporting. And once you get your team reviewing it and actually realizing what these metrics mean and how they work, you'll be surprised at how much more involved in engagement you get from them. If you found this helpful, jump on the wealthylandscaper.community and fill out our 20-point questionnaire. It'll give you some automatic feedback and kind of tell you where your company sits as a whole right now. This will really help you figure out where your business is at right now and how efficiently you're running.